He never tells us when we're good.
All right, hello and welcome to Swing It and Ding It, an iHeartMedia podcast.
I mean, this is a birdie fest.
It's a Philly show, baby.
Philly
Let's go.
All right, welcome in to Swing It and Ding It. We are presented by Comcast Business, introducing ultimate speed for business, the fastest internet plans yet from Comcast Business, powering possibilities. Also, the Penn Club on Second. We'll hear more about that when we have the course, of course, with Harry Mays. Maybe 2 golf courses this week, one of which I know you could play at the Penn Club on Second, but we'll talk about that when we get there. But we take it back as we do. We love Philly golf here. And when we saw Brendan Quinn's article in The Athletic, who's the senior enterprise writer for The Athletic, can a reimagined Cobbs Creek fulfill its promise? Public Golf is hoping so. Welcome in, Brendan Quinn. How's it going?
Great. Thanks for having me. Well, I was thrilled to see the invite pop up. Since leaving home and kind of being in like the national golf scene, I always talk about everyone knows I'm from Philly. The accent is a dead giveaway, but then the question always comes, oh, what's your favorite? Marion, Aronimink, Philly CC? I'm like, I don't know. I've never stepped foot on any of those, but do you know Cobbs Creek? So it was fun as hell to get to do this project. And now I'm really happy to be able to talk to you guys about it.
That's awesome. Well, we're obviously going to dive in heavy on the Cobbs Creek side, but one of the terms we use on this show is golf journey, right? And everyone has their own golf journey. And talk about yours, how you got started from the area, your interest in golf, and why you kind of really focused, well, especially with this piece, but where your love for the game obviously is there, and how that started.
Yeah. Very much a product of the generation. I was in 8th grade in '97. And saw Tiger, win at Augusta, and ran out in the backyard and had my brother's clubs, and he's a lefty, but I was, would swing him around and all that. And I had like maybe, been to a driving range and stuff like that a few times before that, or maybe played around here or there. But I think that's when I really kind of started to just be more interested in it and watch it and play more. And that led me to working. And if anyone's familiar with Cobbs, you're probably familiar with the very old driving range on City Avenue that was then called the City Ave Sports Center. And I got a job there.
Oh, wow.
And, I worked there, and it was owned by Philly Golf, for those of who remember that. And you could play any of the properties if you worked at one of the other properties. So that means I could play Cobbs for free. So I just spent every day there, from get there in the morning, play 36, go over to the driving range where you would sneak through the fence on 8 fairway and get some water ice and then go back to Cobbs and play the rest of the back 9 and blah, blah, blah. And that was it. That's kind of how I was introduced to the game. And I loved it. I was never particularly good. I went to St. Joe's Prep and was not good enough to make the team there or anything like that. But just liked it. And then always kind of had a set of clubs, with me. And then when I kind of went chasing sports writing and spent a few years in Tennessee and then came up to Michigan and been living in Michigan, golf really turned into kind of a vehicle to be able to, anyone who's ever left home knows how weird it is to make friends as an adult. Right? Like in college, you're just put in a dorm, so you just have to meet people. But then when you're like 30, opening up a suitcase in a new city, and you're like, I don't know anybody. So, golf
hi, I'm normal. I'm normal. Talk to me. Right?
Exactly.
Sure you are, buddy.
I like drinking beer and playing golf. You guys want to do that? And then it's like, do we exchange numbers? I don't know. I think we're friends now.
How does this work?
So yeah, that was it. And then The Athletic was really interested in kind of broadening my role about 2018 or so, and the conversation about golf came up, and I'd always enjoyed golf writing, just as old SI stories and things like that, and that kind of led to covering professional golf and then golf at large, and now I've been doing it for 5-6 years. So it's great journey, great word, but it is a sport that can kind of take you interesting places and introduce you to so many interesting people.
Yeah, Brendan, it really can. And with that, like, what makes a compelling golf story? And like, how do you approach like your storytelling, your article writing? Like, how do you decide like, hey, this is worthy of, me chasing and writing about?
Yeah, I think it's like any other story, tension and um, relatable human natures are those things that you just kind of cling to. The stories I've written this year were of Lilia Vu, number 2 ranked woman in the world, and her family escaping Vietnam in 1982 to start a new life. And her mother was a 7-year-old, or no, 12-year-old. I don't know. Don't ask me to recount the details. It was a very long story. But Lilia's mother was on the boat that her father built to help her family escape.
Wow.
And the story has very little to do about golf, but it has everything to do about kind of human drive and kind of the power of pushing forward. So those are the same things. It's like any sports writing, right? That the game is the framework, and then you're just kind of write about the people in the middle of it.
Well, Brendan, I got to give you props, man, on this piece. I love the way you tied in, the juxtaposition of Marion Golf Club and, old school, private golf to the, taking the meandering Cobbs Creek down to where Cobbs Creek is and the public story. It was brilliant. But I gotta ask you, because, we've been talking about this project for a couple of years now. In fact, we had Chris Lang on the podcast a few years ago when this was first becoming public, and now it's looking like it's a reality. And you detail the the increase in cost and where they are, but you've actually been on the ground. What can you report from actually being there on property as to how things are coming along?
I would say, first of all, outside of golf and outside of everything else, you're just blown away by the power of Mother Nature and just how the land is reclaimed. If you were out there, if you're in the middle, like back, for anyone who knows the old course, kind of up where those middle holes around what would be the fence line, so kind of in from City Avenue, those middle holes, like the old 600-yard par 5, the elevated areas kind of around like 12 green, I think. When you're out there, if somebody did not tell you there was a golf course there, you would not know it. So that is the state of the property right now. The difference, though, is also you can see across the land. I mean, the tree removal is its own story, and obviously a hot button issue for a lot of folks. But it's very fascinating to kind of see the land from the perspective up there of what it was before that tree growth kind of took over. And that's a thing that's happened at so many properties. I think you guys were talking about. I heard you guys mention Oakmont earlier. Back in the day, Oakmont, you couldn't see anything.
Right.
Everything was tree lined, and it was just these old massive trees. And when they did the redesign there, or the renovation, I should say, they cleared it. You can now see clear across the entire property. You can see across the highway, for God's sake. So, when you're at Cobb's, though, if you squint, you can see it. And if you're those folks who played, 100 rounds there in your life, and you can start to remember what it was, and then you look at the redesign and realize, that the original design kind of got, lost in the sauce a little bit between changes in the land and what happened in 1955 when the Army came in and decided, where else would you build a missile silo?
Right.
Other than the 13th green.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. They weren't building that at Marion. I'll tell you that much. They were not installing that at Huntington Valley. That was not going to happen. Yeah. But, the 13th of Cobb's, who cares? Whatever. City property. It's basically a park. So, they obviously rerouted, and they, to their credit back then, they actually saved a lot of the original greens. But, now you can see it. And I remember I was driving around with Enrique Hervada, and we get to where the first deviation of what I remember the design to be. And you realize that I think it's 5 or 6, actually took a hard right and went up the hill, and it should have been just a bear of an uphill par 4. And now that those trees aren't there and you can actually see what it was, you kind of get like goosebumps. You're like, oh my God. Like, it's this like kind of skeleton key that opens all the doors where you realize, oh wait, now the course was supposed to go up there. And then it went back all the way around. And you're like, oh, the original genius that's there
Right.
is kind of mind bending. So you can see it, but they got a long, long way. And, luckily for all involved, it helps when Gil Hanse and Jim Wagner just happen to be kind of down the road hanging out and ready to go. And not to deviate too far, but one of the things that really blew me away in the reporting process was I remember when those greens were like rebuilt around like 13 or so. There was a really terrible storm that like washed away 3 green. And I never knew that like a young, pretty much unknown Gil Hanse went and rebuilt those greens like
for free.
Pro bono, for
free.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, and then went out and redid Oakland Hills and Marion and then Shinnecock and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. But like back in the day, right? Like he was just out there on his own doing it for kind of the love of the place.
It's so interesting because I think a lot of people that are new to golf kind of heard about Cobbs Creek, but maybe have not played it, right? Don't really know much about it. I grew up in Southwest Philly. So, my older brother and friends would play it. So I kind of played it a couple times as a kid, but not much. But to me, it's like when you hear the story, it's either setbacks, like you hear like, oh, this isn't happening now, or these huge stories with Tiger Woods, with Jordan Spieth. There's this crazy like bounce back and forth in the city of like, is this ever going to happen? And then you hear these great things about these people to get involved. Harry mentioned the interview we did. That's still our most viewed video that we've ever done. That's how much like people in the city care about this. But how do you, when you were reporting this, right? Like how do you feel like they're balancing a true timeline of when people are actually going to be able to experience this and knowing there's going to be further setbacks, but then also balancing the celebrity side of like, people are so interested in this because of the names that are involved in it right now.
Yeah, I mean the kind of the serendipity of being able to have a TGR learning lab and something like the Tiger Woods Foundation involved in a project is like it's amazing how kind of red tape and certain things disappear when you get Tiger Woods and the idea of a TGR, the second one in the country being in the Cobbs Creek neighborhood, right? Because we're talking about Cobbs Creek, the golf course. Cobbs Creek is a neighborhood in the city of Philadelphia, right? That has actual people who live in it that, should have as much benefit out of this as the guy who drives in to play the course, whether that person's driving from Havertown or Hershey or Pittsburgh, right? Like all those people are going to get to use the course, but there are people who are going to be driving by it to work every day because they live there. And to have that learning lab, it fundamentally changes what the place is. It's not a golf course. And it's really interesting that they're referring to it as the Cobbs Creek Golf Course and Campus.
Yeah.
I thought that was the thing that kind of really summed up trying to do it differently. And I think the end game of actually having, right, the 18-hole restoration plus a new 9-hole course, and maybe the even more distant idea of, does Philly become a PGA Tour stop again? When you get Tiger Woods, and in the spring, if all goes as planned, I think everyone who understands construction, you hope for a decent winter. The idea of this place opening in the spring and actual Tiger Woods walking onto the property, and all the cameras are there and Golf Channel's there and all this, and we're at Cobbs Creek. Well, suddenly, whatever the last 50 million, right? It started as a 20 million project, then it went to 70 million. Now it's at 150 million, and 100's been raised. They're 50 shy. There's a lot of heavy hitters who have raised a lot of money or are the ones kind of making that push. That push gets a lot easier when here's a building, and here's the green that was built, and here's the driving range that's being built, and that is Tiger Woods. standing
Right.
right there, right? Like that's just how these
With the
things
giant
work.
scissors. That's him right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You know, it's just to get that it's just massive. It's massive. It's a big credit to everyone involved.
You lightly mentioned the possibility of Philly becoming a tour stop again, and we know that the Truist Championship will be at Philly Cricket. Will you be coming out to cover that? Talk about how that will shape up and how that might help influence bringing more tour stops back.
Yeah, I mean, what a marketing opportunity for the project at Cops to be able to
Right.
say to everyone on the Tuesday of that PGA Tour week, hey, yeah, we're glad you're here in Philadelphia
take
for
a
this
field
PGA
trip.
Tour event. Why don't you go check out what's happening over
Yeah.
here? Right. Come play the short course. Right. Come see the driving range that is so uniquely its own. I live in Detroit. I'm based in Detroit, a little section called Ferndale. And I am 2 miles from Detroit Golf Club. Okay. One of the only city courses or courses in a city, I should say. It is not a city course. I try to play it. I'm not a member. I didn't get into that. It was pre-COVID prices, man. Those were the times where you actually get in these places. But
Right.
the boom is a killer. That's all right. But it's a great course. But more importantly, right, it's in the city, and it is the PGA Tour, and the PGA Tour being a proxy for the sport of golf, being able to be into it in a city and serve a different population of people who like the game and should have access to a PGA Tour event. Everything doesn't have to be in the outskirts of private clubs for this city. I put in air quotes for those not watching. It's city proper, and it can have a great benefit. What Rocket Mortgage and the tour have done in terms of raising a lot of money to provide internet access in the city of Detroit. Like, these things do happen, and I know, like, it's really hard. It's skepticism is obvious and abundant, and it should be, but like, there are a lot of dollars raised. You can pick it apart, but it does actually happen, and it can be a benefit. So if that can happen in Philly, if that can happen in West Philadelphia, that there can be money being brought in to the area, and that hopefully serves a better good, and that everyone's doing it on the up, that's great. That's great. And I think that's what you hope for.
Is the 50 million the final hurdle, or are there even more permits and things that need to be obtained? Because I loved how you detailed all the red tape and permits required in a city like Philadelphia, and then you're also looking at Montgomery and Delaware County too, which are involved. And this guy Don Dissinger ends up being a hero because he knows how to navigate all this stuff. I mean, that was a name that I didn't know about, and brought for he's one of the guys that's really heavily responsible in making this thing happen.
Yeah, Don's like a force of nature, man. A guy who had his hands on the construction of both Citizens Bank Park and MetLife Stadium, who, when he told me that the permitting for those two stadiums were fewer permits than what it's taken to try to get Cobbs Creek
It's amazing.
off the ground and running is just mind-bending. But then when you think about it, like, yeah, it's a 300 some odd acre property. It's 9, I forget how many miles, and so I don't want to state it incorrectly, but it's how many ever miles of creek bed that needs to be rebuilt and repaired. It's the installation of acres upon acres of wetlands that are both for flood protection and all these, like, it's a lot. And like, Delaware County didn't even realize, or I'm sorry, Upper Darby didn't even realize that some of the Cobbs Creek property went into Upper Darby. So it's like, suddenly that became like an 11th hour. Okay, well, I guess we have to go talk to Upper Darby. And now that's even more permits. So, but the last I spoke, this was funny. This was a very Philadelphia moment when I was with Enrique Hervada, and we had just done the site visit. And he goes, "You got to meet Don. Let's see if we can do breakfast." And he gets Don on the phone. They chat, and he goes, "Can you do breakfast at Lanark?" tomorrow. Now, if anyone had been visiting from or wasn't familiar with the area, they would have assumed, oh, that'd be nice to go have breakfast at Lanark Country Club. I would
No, the
love
diner.
That. No. It was the Big L. It was Lanark Diner on City Ave, or I guess Township Line there.
By the way, it's great in its own way.
We had a delightful time, but we had like a 2-hour breakfast, and Don, between his resume and just his kind of force of personality and his ideals and why he is getting involved in this, and it's for inclusion, and I believe that. It's a guy who should be retired, he's got a lot of money, doesn't need to be doing this. You could just be playing at Marion. He's a member over there. Most of them are. So yeah, I mean, Don, I think, has kind of been one of those, you bring in the big reliever, it's like being in the playoffs and having that guy who you can bring in late in the game who's going to get it across the finish line. I think that is kind of what it was in bringing him in. So the last I heard, it's that they don't foresee any more hiccups with the permitting, that they're going to finish the hurdles. But, we've been saying that for a long time. That was part of the story, that, like, us talking here, we heard this chatter 10 years ago. Oh, Cobb's going to get redone. Okay. We'll see. I mean, I remember sitting over beers at Burke's and the old Oakmont pub, John Henry's and Ardmore, having these conversations with the same group of guys of like, did you hear about? You see what was in the Inquirer about Cobb? Yeah, it's never going to happen, right?
They raised $50 million. It's going to happen. Yeah,
I do think it's going to happen. I think there were a lot of the aspiration of the course actually getting done by 2025 or 2026. I don't see that happening. I think it will be 27. Wow. Like, in terms of readiness to be played, like, could there be periods in 26 where there are portions ready? There are site visits. There are things happening. Yeah, I think so. But, in terms of being like competition ready per se.
Yeah. That's the 18-hole golf course proper, right? There's going to be phases with, like you said, the learning center, the short course, the driving range, all that's going to kind of phase in before that. And then the true golf course is going to be the last thing that gets completed. Right.
Like the short course, which is, it's basically if anyone remembers where the old driving range was, not the one on City Avenue, but like if you went to the clubhouse at Cobb's,
off Lansdowne.
So if you were at the old clubhouse at Cobb's and you crossed Lansdowne Ave, there was like a parking lot over there, and then there was kind of like a rinky-dink driving range, and like some of the back nine of Caracon was like back there, right? So that is where the learning center is up. Like you can look up and you see it, which I really barely believed with my own eyes, to be perfectly honest. But if you look up, it is there, and there are cranes and there are things. And there are, they are building greens right now of that short course.
Wow.
That is going to be sweet. It's going to be, there are a bunch of 80, 90-yard holes. I hope they put up a few short trees, because if you thin one, man, someone's going to get it on Lansdowne. Like that's going to be open in the spring. And the learning center is going to be ready to go. And from every window of the learning center, you're going to see parts of a golf course, whether it's the short course or whether it's the main course in a couple of years. And then that driving range is going to go up. And once that driving range goes up, driving ranges, they make money.
Right.
I think that is financially going to be self-sustainable very quickly, and will allow them, I think, to just start pursuing everything else. Because once you have something that's actually, butter and some bread, that certainly helps.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's not to be confused with Club Pro Guys Learning Center. This is like very different.
Slightly
very different.
Yeah, very different.
The turf's a little different.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
Do you want to wrap with the?
Yeah. Okay. So I got to ask you this. We ask every guest that comes on. We already talked about 2 Philly courses, but if you got to choose to play one Philly course tomorrow, what would it be?
Does Pine Valley count?
Yep.
We claim Brad Faxon gave us the right away that PV is a Philly course.
Yeah.
I hear it mentioned as a Philly course. To me, I don't think it's a Philly course personally.
Okay.
But so, I mean, obviously Pine Valley just because it's so hard to get on. But for me personally, like I'd probably say Marion because the only time I've been on the property was for the first round of the 13 U.S. Open as a attendee. I flew back for it. I was living in Knoxville at the time. Went with my cousins, the Hobins. So it was the Quinns and the Hobins out there having a time. That was the morning there was the rain delay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Oh my God. It just ended up being quite the bender. But that point being, I've driven by that course 100,000 times. I'm not even exaggerating. I grew up in St. Matthias Parish on Bryn Mawr Avenue, right across the street from the school. And then when my folks sold that house, they moved to Havertown. So, it's just like that whole strip.
Yeah.
I've just driven past it so many times, and I have it in my eyes right now. Like just kind of you see the course, and you're like, oh man, that looks nice. Man, look at those greens.
Yeah. You're not alone. That's the second consecutive week somebody's gave the red wicker basket a nod.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Right.
Between the history of it and because the thing is, I don't know what Pine Valley looks like. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you ask me to describe a whole Pine Valley, I really don't. I don't know because we don't see it on TV. We don't. It doesn't have this iconic. There's no picture of Ben Hogan hitting a 1-iron at Pine Valley. It's at Marion. So yeah, it's kind of one of those just like mythical places to me that I'm sure it'll happen one day. But for now, it takes the cake there.
Well, since you said Pine Valley's not a Philly course, and I know you cover college basketball too, I won't ask you if Villanova is a Philly school. So we'll skip that one. But I do have to ask
you. 15 years ago, back when I was or I guess 20 years ago, I would have said no. But now as a transplant, as a mature adult, Villanova is a city school. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we have to ask you. I mean, who would you recommend we reach out to next as a guest?
Oh boy,
for golf.
Wow.
And it would help if you had their number in your phone.
Yeah.
Jim Wagner would be great.
Wags, yeah.
He's
text him for us.
he's a guy who is as straight shooting as they come.
Is he easier to get on than Gil? Because we've reached out to Gil several times, and he's flying all around the world.
Come on, building every man, golf. Let's go.
That's the thing. You're rarely in the same time zone when you're dealing with golf course architects. But Gil, he went to O'Hara, played high school matches at Cobb's, and that's one of the funny things. It's like the people that you talk to who say, "Oh yeah, I played high school matches at Cobb's." I was talking to my father, who was a longtime track and field and cross country coach at St. Joe's, and he ran there from 58 to 62, and he ran track at the prep and cross country at the prep in the mid 50s, and he had his cross country meets at Cobb's, and he would always say, it's a shame they built a golf course on that great cross country.
It was either there at Belmont Plateau where you ran.
Yeah, pretty much, but it has that kind of hit, that for a generation of runners, Cobb's Creek is the same as Van Cortlandt Park
in New York,
up in the Bronx. So and he could still to this day recount turn for turn, what that was as a cross country course. And so it has a lot of meanings to a lot of people. And like Jim is one of those guys who has his own kind of little Cobb story. And, I don't think he thought this was going to be done in like 2013 and they've toughed it out waiting to actually start moving dirt.
Absolutely. Well, Brendan Quinn, thank you for coming on. Thank you for writing the article. Honestly, it's important that it was written by someone like you who knows the ground, who's been there. Right? There's a lot of people talking about it, but to get the perspective from someone that has history, that's from here and knows it, was awesome. It's a great read. Make sure you check it out. Continued success, and thanks for coming on Swing It and Ding It, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate you having me on. Appreciate the conversation. Thanks so much.
Awesome. At PF Quinn on Twitter too. Give him a follow.
That's right. All right, let's take a quick break, and we will be right. Welcome back to Swing It and Ding It. Always good to get an update on the mythical Cobb's Creek.
Yeah.
I mean, mythical. Do you think a T will be in the ground 2027, Harry? What do you say?
Yeah, I'll remain optimistic. I'll say yes. But it's
I mean, it's hard
amazing.
enough to build a building or a house these days.
I
To
know.
do what they're trying to do, it's insane. It's just a massive undertaking.
It
What about
really
the
is.
comment that it's taken more permits to get this up and going than it has like CBP or the link or anything like that? That's wild.
Yeah, multiple
incredible.
counties and jurisdictions and all that stuff. But
And then I look at the course map, that was in the article, the Gil Hance
Yeah.
drawing.
Oh, that
And
was
then
cool.
I go back and I pull up a Google image of the actual property, on Google Earth. And I'm like, is this going to fit in there? Because it's 100 years. I mean, golf has expanded, everything's bigger, and, the ball flies farther. They're hoping to have a tour event here. I'm like, how are they going to fit that into that old property?
Oh, I want to see the side by side of that.
Yeah. I have it
I
up
mean,
on my
The
computer.
good thing
so-
was
Yeah, text me
it
that.
was always
Yeah.
a massive piece of land, right? It
Yeah.
wasn't like they stuffed that into a corner of the city. Like it's sprawling, Very
Right.
interested.
Right, but to get an 18-hole, a 9-hole, and a
right,
short course, and the driving range. I mean, because in order to have an event, you got to have a driving range big enough to host an event. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Like
Luckily,
I'm thinking
they
they
had
should
that
have
other
bought
course.
McCall. They should have just bought McCall right next to it, and there you go.
Yeah. Right. I mean, there's so many. It's funny how that all like intertwines and connects too, and
Mhm.
Brendan touches on it in the story, right? Especially with the water that connects
Yeah.
Murray in, and it's just so cool. I love how it gets into the Hugh Wilsons, the Flynn's, right?
Mhm.
The
The Philadelphia School of Design guys.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the
Great.
Charlie Sifford angle,
Yes.
with linking it with Tiger Woods. It was really cool.
Yeah, right. He named his son Charlie for that
Yep.
reason, and why Tiger's so involved in this project, right? Because people were thinking like, why is Tiger Woods like that's a huge part of it, a huge
Yeah.
connection to it. So
The history of it. Yeah.
yeah, great stuff out of Brendan Quinn. Make sure you check it out. Great stuff out of the President's Cup. I'm thinking about work. Going into it, you're like, all right, it's weird. It's almost becoming like the Harlem Globetrotters versus the Generals, right? You hate to say it.
It's a great
But-
example.
And then they jump out 5-0.
Yeah.
And then the comeback the next day just pulls you right back in,
Crazy.
right? With all the drama. It winds up being the second largest margin of victory since 2000, 18.5 to 11.5, but it certainly did not feel that way, right?
Yeah.
Until the very end. 13-1-1 goes the U.S. team. I think if a U.S. captain did what Mike Weir did on day 3, like it would be talked about to no end, right? With playing the same pairings
Mhm.
back to back, but just a great President's Cup all around, and a million different stories in there.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but we were sitting on the couch watching Sunday, and we went over. We're like, okay, if this match does this, if this happens here, like we were playing out every scenario
The
to see
greatest
like
part.
how it would end up. Yeah, I thought that was the most fun of watching it because, like you said, like Sunday or the second day it just pulled us back in. I was like, wait, they're now coming back? Like, well, what is going on? And then sitting there the last day going through each scenario, it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get to see much of Sundays live because I played golf in the morning and then I had to watch the Eagles game at 1:00 and do a post game. So I'm watching the singles after the fact, but I
6,
did
3, and
catch
3.
the Saturday foursomes, which is where everything really changed. I mean, you had late flips in 3 of those matches. You had Scheffler and Henley birdieing 14, 15, and 16 to close out Matsuyama and Im 3 and 2. Then you had Morikawa and Burns and Cantlay and Schauffele both birdieing 18 to beat their respective opponents. And that really changed the whole thing because then the U.S., went up 11-7 heading into the singles. And it's
Right.
really, you're like, and then, Weir puts Jason Day in the first group against Schauffele. I mean, are you kidding me? Like, just throw up the white flag and he's, put on a Malbon sweater and go have a cocktail. That match was over before it started. Are you kidding me? Like, I don't know. I agree with you, Moose. If that would have been done in the inverse, I mean, we'd be, screaming.
Ripping. Right.
What do we
ripping
think about
into
what do we think
pure.
about Keegan getting his moment?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. It's weird how things just line up sometimes.
Right,
Like,
just written out perfectly.
really. I mean, he
I
gets
was like, wait,
the winning
I would have
point.
liked it to be a little more like
Right, make the putt
exciting,
to win
but
it.
Yeah.
not miss the putt, but
Right, but
still pretty cool.
you look at Schauffele, Cantlay, and Morikawa, all were 4-1. and played 5 matches, which is exhausting, and they won 4 points. Henley, Burns, and Scheffler each won 3. I know Scheffler lost his singles match. It was a good one, actually, with Matsuyama. But Harmon winless. We questioned that choice, whether he was automatic or not. We questioned it. Homa, Clark, and Tigala all got 1 point only. So that was kind of interesting there. But Cantlay, 15-6-1 now in cups, Ryder and Presidents. He's becoming a beast.
I mean, when your nickname's Patty Ice, like that's the event. Those are the events that you're going to excel in because you're not going to get thrown off by the antics. And I mean, no one was involved with more of that in the last Ryder Cup than him. So I don't think anything will ever rattle him at this point. But like even him making that last putt, like he is just, and you could tell like he likes playing with Xander. But when he's on his own,
they're helping
he's
each other with putts. Like,
yeah. How about that? It's funny to see that, right? Because
like Xander giving him a read on that putt.
Yeah,
like,
right. Yeah. And you can tell, like, and listen, and I like watching these events. I totally get why Liv went the way they did with trying to make
with the team stuff. Yeah,
I get it. Like, it makes sense to try it. You just can't replicate it with what those guys have for something like this. But I understand why they're
not
trying
riding
to do it.
on your back.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Right.
It's not like the Olympics. It's not like Ryder Cup. It's not President's Cup. It's just you're playing for money.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Like, and I think that's where, it's definitely manufactured, and that's where.
And you're not even playing for money. You got your money.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. If you were playing for the
You've
money,
already
then
been
maybe.
paid.
Right.
Yeah. Your salary, baby. Your salary. Everything else is just
right.
a bonus, you know?
Yeah.
But I had that same thought moves. I was like, oh, this is kind of, this team is kind of fun. But then I was like,
yeah.
It's different.
Yeah. Now the Tom
Ben
Kim
on.
and Siwoo Kim were I mean, there's so much going on with them that did not understand the timing of that celebration. With the Steph Curry,
night.
I mean, it was an incredible shot. He definitely wanted to do it. Tom Kim got himself in some hot water with some of the comments he said, and then tried to backtrack from him. Walked off the green at one point when Scotty was still putting on day one. So he was a lot of a story. He seemed to eat it up. It was weird to me. Like some of it seemed like he was playing a role of trying to do what past Ryder Cup and President's Cup people did. But it definitely added to some drama for sure.
Yeah, it was fun watching, like, the X or Instagram, if you will, and watching all the dancing videos and this and that. But then, like you said, like the drama coming through with Ben on, like going after Wyndham Clark, saying like, there's always that one guy who, who plays in your round and doesn't do explicit. He just talks explicit. And then he came back and he goes, I'm sorry, I'm deleting my tweet. I should be the bigger person. It's like, come on. But there was a lot of it. And then Tom Kim, I think that's what you were leading on to, like accusing the Americans, like they were cursing at me. And then like, I love it because Xander's like, I can, when asked about it, Xander handled it perfectly. He's like, I can tell you right now, he's like, that Patrick and I like treated our opponents with the utmost respect. Like none of us were cursing. Like, where did that come from? And then somebody else came back and like, oh, maybe it was just, explicits after reacting to a shot or something. It's like, come on, Tom Kim.
Yeah, I didn't get that. That was
grow up.
That was the part that really rang hollow to me. I mean, I like the fact that he's emotional and boisterous, and he's kind of getting in Scotty Scheffler's grill of all people.
Right?
He's
the number one in the world.
I loved all that, but the one thing about him saying that people were cursing at him, it's like. That sounded like the mysterious WNBA thing of, people are yelling racial slurs now at the come on, enough.
It's funny to see Scotty too, like get fired up because you don't see him get fired up. But after that, something happened where someone yelled something about his wife or something. Ted Scott, when it kind of went into the crowd, they threw the guy out. He had an issue with Hideki's drop, I guess it was on 15, and when they came back and won, he spiked his hat like Gronk, like he was fired up.
Awesome. I love
to see it.
But it was fun to watch. Yeah.
The thing about Tom Kim, but what did you think about when he went back? They made him putt like a 3-foot putt, and he went back and laid his putter down like it's inside the leather. Like I thought that was weak too.
Yeah, I mean, it's like JT make it. You don't need a gimme.
You're doing an imitation of someone that's done that before.
Yeah.
Think you should be doing, and it just seems so fake to me.
It seemed a little contrived.
Yeah. But overall, I mean, curious to see how some of the players cycle out and some of the new players cycle in when it comes back to the Ryder Cup. If I don't see Brian Harmon in these events, I'm not going to be extremely upset.
He hasn't
Seems
done
like a nice
sleep
enough
over it.
guy. Seems like a funny, nice guy.
Oh
but
yeah,
I'm not a fan of watching him play the game of golf.
he hasn't done
Um,
squat since winning
no.
that Open Championship.
Wyndham Clark too, right? Like,
Right.
is he phasing out? Right? Is Homa going to get his form back this?
Fired his coach.
Yeah.
Do
Mark
you
Blackburn.
think? Do you think that the team makeup for the Ryder Cup will be drastically different than what we just saw? Do you think some of the traditional players will regain their stroke, like a JT?
I would like
like
to
a
think
Spieth.
Yeah, I would like to
Yeah.
think that Spieth and JT are back on the.
But I do
teams.
think Keegan is going to go, and plus I'm hoping we're going to see Bryson and Brooks and these
Right.
guys. I think you have to, and I think I'm very curious to see Keegan. I think he's going to stay very traditional because he said, like, I'm taking Jim Furyk's playbook about what they did with the wives and how they handled everything. But I think when it comes to players, being that person that was the outsider that didn't get in, I think you're going to see him take some risks and take some shots on some new exciting players for this.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, me too. And I thought, Tigala, I was interested to see how he would do, and it looked like the moment might have been a little big for him. In hindsight now, having watched it play out, so only 1 point, I thought he'd do better.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah. Same. Tony Finau too. That was snooze fest. I was underwhelmed.
Yeah. I'm okay with not. Yeah.
So I think, and even then we still mollywomp. So it's like, is this, is it still going to be the same format? Like the internationals have to do something better if they're going to want to have a chance at winning. I mean, we saw that second day comeback.
They got to get Cam Smith on that team.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe
Exactly.
Neiman Burmester.
Right. Right. Joaquin.
Yeah. Neiman. Right. Yeah.
A couple of those guys would definitely help. But then again, then now you got to deal with Brooks and Bryson and our guys. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But I cannot wait for Bethpage. That is for sure.
Oh yeah, that's such a sight.
Danielle, spill some tea for us.
Oh my goodness, where do we even start? Well, we can talk. We were just talking Brooks and the rest of the live guys, so we can talk on this. Yasir takes on Jay. So last year we saw Yasir register in the Pro-Am under Andrew Waterman. And until the evening before the competition, then he put his real name in, but they're going to be playing in the Pro-Am together, paired up. So that should be interesting to see how that plays out.
And this is for the Alfred Dunhill.
Correct.
Event.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yep. Not at Sanderson Farms.
Right.
that's that Pro-Am. Yeah. We definitely, I don't think Yasir's coming out to Jackson, Mississippi this week. But that should be interesting. So I'm not sure what you guys think of that. Like, I'd like to be a caddy in that group, seeing like what conversation or what banter's going on.
Well, there were videos this morning of Monahan playing a practice round with Billy Horschel.
Right. They're paired up.
Yeah. They're paired up today.
And Yasir's with Burmester.
Yep.
From Live. Yeah.
They're scheduled to play in the same group. It's with Horschel and Burmester. Yeah. But it's weird that they would show just a video of Monahan and not the rest of the guys. So I don't know if something changed.
Selective.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of rumors going on with the change of the PGA Tour and how we're going to see it in its future. Nothing is confirmed, but our guy Ryan at Monday Q, one of his sources said, I'm air quoting, it's a foregone conclusion. So we could possibly be seeing smaller fields, 100 cards instead of 125 being issued to Korn Ferry players, less KFT grads, gutting the Monday Qs. And their thing on the Monday Qs would be instead of 4, it'd be 2. But when asked about it, and I guess what they're leading on and giving to the current PGA Tour players that they're pushing this info to is that only 29% of people who qualify via Monday Q make the cut. So they're cutting that out.
It's not a terrible number for how many people are in the field. Like,
I
guess they have to staff that, right?
But what I thought was a really good point that somebody hit on, and it was in Ryan's article, I believe, was that if you're cutting Monday Qs, you're taking tremendous money away from the PGA, like the PGA of Americas. That's how a lot of them make their money, is hosting these Monday qualifying events. So you take that out, you're cutting jobs, and essentially they're saying that it's just like the PGA Tour is shaping up to have the lower guys, it's going to be a grind. It's going to be a struggle. It's like trying to get into to Harvard, if you will, and then the guys who are already there, it's a little more simple for them. But somebody did comment out that Ricky Fowler only has one more year of status left, which I didn't realize that happened. So,
and he's playing this week.
Yeah.
First time since the middle of the summer.
Open, right? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, because he just took time off having their second child, but I think he's realizing like, hey, I have no job security. We might see the orange clothes come back on and doing some more
time
jobs.
off? Do I have to take time off when I have my fourth child? Because I'm trying to get it all in now.
Yeah.
You are
the year of the moose.
Sounds like you are.
I don't think my husband took one day off. I said to him the other day, I was like,
but that's his job.
I was like, have you changed a diaper in 3 months?
Good for him.
I don't think you've done it. No.
The key is to do it poorly. Dads, all the dads listening out, new dads, do it poorly the first couple times. Right. Let there be an accident. Then you will not be trusted and you don't have to do it anymore. Just pro tip from your boy Moose.
That's what I did when they wanted me to be a producer back at the old days of the Fanatic. I was just so horrible. I'm like, I'm going to crash this by design. They'll never ask me to do this again.
You got to do it.
You guys are hilarious.
Yep. That's how you got to do it sometimes.
Oh my God. Fax sent me this video. He goes, is this good for social? And I just gently said no, but it was him loading the dishwasher with getting, a play-by-play of like everything that he was doing. And he's like, men, this is how you should load a dishwasher. I'm like, no, nobody's gonna want to load the dishwasher and see how to do this correctly. It was pretty funny after President's Cup, having a couple drinks, trying to show how to load the dishwasher. I'm like, okay, here we go. But yeah,
there is a science to it, though.
There is.
Some people are very
maximize it. Yep.
Yeah,
you might get some response from that video, Danielle. Actually, it's a hot topic in the world.
Loading the dishwasher correctly.
Yeah. Some people do it like an engineer. Some people do it like a drunken sailor, right? And usually those people live with each other.
I remember when I did.
That was his case. He said his wife is D+ at best, and
That's it.
I remember when I
maybe we post it and I give Moose credit.
Thank you.
Yes, when I did my show with Baldy, a famous quote came out of it that was used a million times. The dishwasher confuses me. Remember that? You remember that one, Moose? I think that's what he was talking about. Like, how do you load this thing?
Wow, that's a great drop.
Oh, that's funny.
That's amazing.
It drives me wild if B does the dishes and it's not like I'm like the coffee cups in a row, the glass in a row. Like, I'm like,
I like how
stay away.
Rebecca's mom fully cleans the dishes and then puts them in the dishwasher.
Yeah.
Guilty.
That's what I do.
Like, I mean, they are spotless.
Yeah.
If you opened up a full dishwasher, you could not tell if they had been run or not.
Right.
I need to get the clean or dirty magnet because B's always like, is this clean or dirty?
That's my, yeah.
I'm the same way.
Hot topic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gearhart's Appliance, by the way.
There you go.
If you need a new dishwasher.
Nice tie-in.
Go see our friends at Gearhart's Appliance, the best.
Well, I'm glad I brought that up. So we'll get that posted. Stay tuned for that. But talking about potential changes with the PGA Tour, Corn Ferry grads still getting 30 cards this year. So we'll see graduation. They're in playoffs this week at the French Lick.
Yep.
So that'll be exciting to watch. I enjoy watching Corn in Latin. I think it's fun. I like watching the guys come up, probably because B went through it, and I know the grind, but it's so fun. So I'll stay tuned to that this week, bring you some updates on that next week. See how that plays out.
Yeah, they're at that 8,000-yard Pete Dye course, but they're not playing 8,000. It's pretty long anyway. But
I wish they would.
I know that would be kind of cool to see that. I mean, Max McGreevy, Harry Higgs, Ryan Garrard, Kevin Roy, who's been on the program, John Pock, Chris Ventura, Aldrich Potgeider, and Tano's in there, another program guest. So I'm interested in that too this weekend, Danielle.
Oh, yeah. And Kevin Roy, he's been having a great year. Yep. So that's pretty cool to see. And it's funny, a lot of times I think the guys that they get on the tour, they earn their card and they get there. It's kind of like Brendan was saying, I'm 30 and I'm out here. And it's like, how do I make new friends? It's some of these guys, Kevin's probably like around 30. He goes out there and it's like, it's like a boys club where everyone has their thing. And you're like, how do I belong here? And you're not comfortable. Maybe you don't feel comfortable showing up on the driving range or practicing next to somebody, whatever. And then they, lose their card, they get kicked back down and then they go, shit. Okay. Like I need to get back up there. There's more money. They treat us better, whatever else. And then they're like, okay, I'm more comfortable. They're not the rookie anymore. They end up regaining their card back. And we're seeing that with guys like Kevin, with Tano and everything else. So excited to watch that play out.
Definitely. Good stuff. Har, my favorite golf course I get to play today. Today.
Oh, today?
Today is the day I get to play my favorite golf course.
What's your favorite golf course?
We all know this. Wissahickon.
Philly Cricket.
Oh,
Yeah, Wissahickon.
Yeah, I just love the place. I love everything about it. I love playing there. I am equally looking forward to the chicken sandwich at the turn as I am the golf. Everything about it. I just always am very excited when I get a chance to play that course.
Well, you know what to do. You got to start lobbying to get a membership.
yeah.
I mean,
we have to
admiring from afar and counting on other people.
Get in there. Take
over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we have to do though is a course and food episode, because there's so many courses that you relate. Like, you're like, oh, I'm going to get a chicken sandwich, and certain places where you're like, okay, I need that hot dog or the chicken
PBJ
salad
at the Union League Tarsdale at the
right.
Yeah.
What was that? An Texas toast? That was a thick bread.
That was
a Texas toast.
I like that. It was almost like a sourdough. It felt like to me.
I'll tell you what, a Jaws dog never misses. When you play one of Jaworski's courses, a Jaws dog always.
Riverwinds has the good Jaws dog. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. No doubt.
When I'm at Turtle, it's always a chicken cup salad or a cup of chicken salad, and then just douse it in hot sauce. You're good to go.
Yeah. Wow. Danielle doesn't do bread, I don't think.
No.
I don't. But
carbs are the enemy. Blah, blah, blah.
I actually started making my own sourdough bread though, because I was like, I was like, let's clean up like what we're eating. So,
sourdough's great.
Homemade sourdough bread.
So, how's the game going? How you played Sunday? You said in the morning.
Yeah, I played Sunday in the morning. I mean, it was so wet, because the course had taken on all that rain from the offshoots of Helene. But I played Saturday and Sunday, and just kind of getting ready for this weekend's fall member. Me and Adam Blom are the teammate, and he's about a 5, and I'm bringing 15 indexed into it. So the strokes, I'm bringing strokes, and I got to make them count. So looking forward to that Saturday, Sunday at the 1912 Club.
Yes, you do. I'm actually playing Sunday too. I'm playing in the Fall Classic.
Yeah, that's what ours basically.
Yeah, 666. You play modified scramble or modified alternate shot scramble. Playing with a fellow named Jimmy Wagner. I don't know Jimmy. It was a blind date set up for John DeMarco at the pro shop. I said I need someone that I would enjoy spending the day with.
Nice.
I like that. That's always fun when you.
Yeah, ours is 9 holes, better ball on the front on Saturday, and then a scramble on the back 9, and then the next day is alternate shot and add them up.
Wow.
So the two tougher formats are both on the front 9, which to me is the tougher 9 too. So it's going to be a challenge.
That's fun though. Yeah. That's a lot of fun. I love it. Love it. Well, there's 2 golf tournaments this weekend to speak of. We have the second event in the FedEx Cup Fall Series, of course, the Sanderson Farms Country Club of Jackson, but then also the DP World Tour, the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship, with a crazy field. When you take a look and see it. But let's talk about the course, of course, presented by our friends at the Penn Club on Second. They dropped off some merch for us. That was very nice of them, because you could play the old course there, Harry. You don't have to get on that plane. You could just head right over to Conchi and play the old course. But
that's right.
Your pick of where you want to start. If you want to talk about both, one, let's talk about the courses.
I'll go Country Club of Jackson, which is an early 1960s Dick Wilson design. Dick Wilson, of course, who designed Royal Montreal too, which was the President's Cup last week. It had a 2008 renovation by John Faught, and now it resembles what they say is more of a Donald Ross look, which is really cool. They have an Azalea 9 and a Dogwood 9 that they use for the Sanderson Farms. 7,465 yards, par 72. The average green size, 6,200 square feet. Boy, give me some of those. With Bermuda grass, there's 4 par 5s, 4 par 3s, 56 bunkers, and 7 water hazards. And water is in play actually on 5 of the holes. We'll start at 15. The last par 5 is the 14th hole. We'll go to 15, short par 4, 330 yards. Fairway bunkers loom left and about 90 yards short of the green. The green slopes severely away, and a full shot into the green offers the best birdie opportunity because you can spin it. If you try and drive it, favor the left side. It can run out on you. Green side bunkers are left and right. That's a very cool hole. 16th hole, par 4, 470 yards. This is the signature hole at the Country Club at Jackson. There's swamp all the way up the left side and actually crosses the fairway about 80 yards short of the green. 2 precise shots are required to get into this largest green on the golf course, which again is protected by swamp to the left and a big bunker to the right. An aggressive line off the tee challenges the left side of the fairway, but the ball may run out on you. 17th hole, par 4, 416, with the right side of the fairway serving as the hot side. If you can carry the hill, aim for the right side of the bunker in the left center of the fairway. You can't reach it, but that's a good aiming spot. Fairway slopes right to left with a hook lie into a narrow green that falls away to the back left corner. The closing hole, par 4, 505 yards, straightforward tee shot to the right center of the fairway, and the ball will run out. So aim down the left side with the approach playing uphill. You kind of see the clubhouse up in the background. It's an uphill shot to a protected green by bunkers, short left and short right. And the green is sort of offset from the front left to the back right. A really good finishing hole. This golf course, the Bermuda grass makes it look like the place where they play the Wyndham at the end of the year. It's going to look that, and that's the Donald Ross. So it's going to look very similar to that.
Harry, you forgot to mention it's the site of my honeymoon.
Oh, that's right. That was the first tournament back, and the coolest trophy in golf.
Greatest trophy.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Trophy. Yeah, the rooster.
Sebastian Munoz, who was on this show, was the winner and showed us where he proudly displays.
It's so awesome. Like it's like just a huge
rooster. Yeah, rooster. Exactly.
but thanks to our friends at the Penn Club on Second. Make sure you check them out. I actually got quite a few texts from people like, how is that place? Wow, the rates are great. Like, people definitely are interested when they saw some of the stuff you would put out, Harry, and had him on. Sean Brace had him on the radio. The ladies on the radio. So love seeing some good stuff going on with our friends over in Conshohocken.
Yeah, pc2conchi.com is the website. Go in there, ask for a tour. Winter is coming. I know, we're squeezing in the final couple of weeks or a month and a half of fall golf, but winter is coming. You're going to want to sharpen up your game, and there's no better place to do it, at least in this area, in the Conshohocken, Plymouth Meeting, King of Prussia area, than the Penn Club on Second.
The coolest thing to do is if you're watching, if you go there, if you have a membership and you go in the morning and you're watching the old course, and you could play the old course along with it. You have it on the TV and then you're playing it. That's so much fun. I think
you're just the fifth in that group.
Yeah.
Right.
I did it at Augusta at a place before. It was so cool to play the course while the tournament's going on. But we talked a little bit about Sebastian Munoz. Cam Champ was a winner here. Luke List, who won that in that 5-person playoff. But 6 of the last 10 winners here are first-time winners. So will somebody get their first win, or will a guy like Ricky get back on track? 4 of 5 played in Napa, right? So people have to come to form. Mackenzie Hughes is the only guy in the field that was in the President's Cup last week, and he's got some fairly short odds. But
I think he'll be gassed. I think he'll be gassed. I mean,
that's a lot of golf.
It really is a lot of golf, and
intense golf.
It's intense, very intense. Yeah, he was 1-3 at the President's Cup, not his best week, but I'm gonna fade him. I'm gonna stay away from him. But I tell you, you mentioned winning in Napa. Patton Kazire won in Napa, and he's plus 5,500. That's juicy enough for me to dive in to a guy that is playing his best golf. He had 2 top 10s here at Country Club at Jackson too, so he likes the golf course. So what do you think about that one?
Yeah, I like that one. Check it out on DraftKings. Make sure you use that code DING as we see the line. How about Norlander? He
was in the playoff last year.
7,500. He has a T4 and a T2 here last year. So he's in the playoff. And it's funny. There's only one guy in the top 50, and that's number 34, Nick Dunlap, who's the top of the odds.
I like him to win it.
Did you ever think that he would think that he would be the shortest odds on DraftKings going into a tournament?
Crazy, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Wait, can you look at Matt McCarty's odds? I'll give you a little background on him while you look that up real quick.
4,000, shorter than
40 to 1.
Yeah, he's making his PGA Tour debut this week. He's opting out of Korn Ferry Finals because he already secured a spot in KFT ranking. So instead of padding it higher, he's like, "Now we're good." In his last 9 starts on the Korn Ferry Tour, he's earned 3 wins and 7 top 10 finishes. So I don't know if he's going to have that nerves being on tour, or with the big boys, or since it's not that deep of a field, maybe we'll see him do something this week. Not bad odds.
It's funny.
for
He
that.
actually has shorter ads than Grillo, who I actually like,
Yeah.
who had a T5 here in 22 at 4,500. So
Yeah.
yeah, people are onto that a little bit. But if you like it, get on it quick because it's probably going to get a little bit shorter. That's a
Yeah.
good scoop out of you, Danielle. Nice
I
work.
got you,
Yeah.
boys.
What is Ricky
Nice work.
Fowler at now? Last I saw, he was 6,000 to win.
Let's see. Where is Ricky? You said he was 6,000.
He was 6,000 yesterday.
Oh, he's 7,500.
Oh, wow. Dropping. Oh, my.
Yeah.
Yeah. And our man Ben Griffin is a guy who was in the playoff last year, too. Last I saw him, he was at plus, 275 for a top 10.
He's a vegan, though. I don't know if he wants that
really?
chicken. I don't know if he wants
3,000.
3,000 to win.
The other guy I like is Seamus Power too, but it's short number for him, 2,500.
Yeah.
But it's all going to be short numbers on guys at the top with this one. But they're not like the Rory 600s or the Schefflers 400s that you see. There's still value even at the top of the board. When you go across the pond, of course. Now that is an interesting DraftKings board. Rory, like we said, plus 600. With John Rahm, who just had his third child, right, Danielle? Did you see that? John Rahm just had his third child, and he's over in playing this tournament. A lot of
lost
live
the
guys.
playoff. He lost the playoff in the Spanish Open last week.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got Hatton, Fleetwood, Koepka, Lowry, McIntyre, Noren, Horschel, Matt Wallace, Matt Fitzpatrick, Louis Oosthuizen is playing this. Patrick Reed is playing in this. Dietrich. This is going to be cool. I love waking up in the morning and getting to watch a little
early
DP
morning
World golf too.
Yeah.
But
Especially
I could see
at this golf course.
Yeah, I mean, listen, does Horschel stay on fire at that 2,500 number?
Yeah,
why not?
Why not? Right?
Yeah.
Tristan Lawrence plus 250 for a top 10. The South African. He's playing some good golf.
Yeah, I actually like Alex Noren in this at 2,200. I did take him
to win.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. But a lot of good golf. People think, season's over. No, it's not.
No, big
field.
Nope. Season's never over.
I know. I saw like a headline saying now with the PGA Tour, season under wraps. And I'm like, huh?
Yeah. There is no off season.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
December, or Thanksgiving and Christmas, basically.
That's right.
And then we had to Hawaii.
Make sure you check out Brendan Quinn's article about Cobbs Creek. Awesome read. I think you'll really enjoy it. Put some great insights into what will be and what has been. Unburdened by what has been. Cobbs Creek.
Yeah. I when I read that, I thought the same exact thing. I'm like, was you paraphrasing Kamala here?
Amazing. But yeah, Sanderson Farms, DP World Tour, a lot of golf going on. I have a possible major golf bucket list play that is I'm not going to talk about yet, but maybe next week that I might be able to check off the list. Might be a top 5 in the US type of course.
Man, the year of moose continues.
The year of
America's guests.
I gotta show you. I got a couple of books I'm reading right now, and these are future guests. The Bill Heineman book, A Will to Win by John Riley. We're gonna get John on and maybe a Heineman on to discuss. I'm in that one right now. And The Culture of Golf by Larry Hirsch, who's actually a member at the 1912 Club.
Oh, wow.
Very cool.
I'm reading that. And we also got a delivery the other day. Now, I don't do unboxing videos like faxing because I don't have Danielle here to film it. But we got some
swears. Oh,
yes.
hair.
Change your shoes, change your game, just like Sir Nick says. And I'll tell you,
those suckers.
These bad boys are sweet. I am totally impressed by the look of these. Let me give you a good.
Yeah.
I don't know how that comes off.
They actually are.
These
really
are
strong.
These are beautiful shoes, and just like I tried them on, they fit. They fit great. They feel great. The construction is so sturdy and heavy. Like this is a quality item. And I can't wait I'm going to wear them this weekend at least once, and I'll give you a review. Yeah, but they're beautiful.
I vote for a Harry unboxing. You just did great. The product description, showcasing of the shoe. Let's see that up on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I thought quoting Sir Nick was the best part, though.
That was strong. That was strong.
You got to do. Beautiful. Love it. Good luck out there this weekend, Harry. Hope you play well. Thank
Guys,
you.
today, hopefully I get out. Last Wednesday was supposed to be
Let's
the
go.
start.
Wednesday's your day.
Where are you going?
But we had our hurricane come through.
Yeah, I guess
like, literally I was supposed to get over there at 4, and I was like, okay, it's not happening.
So another hurricane's coming?
No, last Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, we're bluebird skies today. So hopefully I I can get over there. So
All right,
To
let's see them
Turtle?
swing. Let's
Yep.
see them swing
Okay.
videos.
All right.
yeah,
Love it.
Let's
Good
do it.
stuff. All
Your
right, everybody
season's
else,
ending,
get
mine's
out
starting.
there. Get out there and swing it and ding it. We'll talk to you next week.